Hello there and welcome to the new channel.
Here to help you see
The new you.
My name is Carmine Ortega.
Dennis Calamba.
This is Nato Agbayani.
My name is Juan Lu.
I'm Chino.
I'm Trisha.
This is Apple Manansala.
This is Attorney Carlo Ibanez.
This is Attorney Sheila Santiago.
This is Angie.
This is Argamid.
My name is Dante Salama.
This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo.
I'm Dania Cunha.
Mon Mendoza.
I am Mapet Erhina.
I'm Leo Bryan. Mike.
Nice one, dear.
Sir Al Ian Barcelona.
Marvin Salazar. This is Sunny Haldons.
Heidi Lumainos.
This is Ivan Jude.
Patrick Geronimo.
Alan Perez.
My name is Erwin Ursua.
My name is Bob.
My name is Lloyd Luna and this is
Future.
The Talk.
Family Business.
The Puppet Stories.
After Shift.
PNC Town Hall.
YOLO.
Marketplace.
The Home Buyer.
HR Hotline.
Danny Art Show.
Healthline.
Foreign Affairs.
COVID Stories.
Awesome Day Show.
Thank you.
Money and more.
Cybernext.
Women at Work.
Win Within.
Port Project.
The Big Picture.
Sometimes life lets you down and you feel that you are done. You just want a morning run because the fun is all gone. Sometimes life makes you proud when you look far and wide, when you leave the pain behind and see the brighter side. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new you. Sometimes life makes you blind and you choose something bad. You just wanna cry and hide and save your face from the crowd. But sometimes life makes you see the beauty in you and me. When you look up above, there is God and there is love. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new. We're here to help you see the newness of life. We're here to help you feel your hope is so real. You got the power to see. We'll help you see the new you. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new you.
The new channel. The new channel.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon. Marayna hapon. Welcome to the new channel. Here to help you see the new you. It's New Year. This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo, your host. This wonderful program, the HR Hotline. It's a wonderful day. It's a sunny day. And I woke up early, and again, for my exercise, I swept the streets in front of my house up to the farthest. So I'm a sweeper this morning. You know, I feel a little bit lonely because today is the feast of the Nazarene. But you know, usually I don't join the throng. I used to teach in Letran. So I am, you know, at the time, a resident of Pasay, a parishioner of Malate. Then I worked in Letran. And on January 9, it is a holiday. It was a holiday. So I know that. But you know, I sometimes visit the Puong Nazareno before or after the feast. Even without COVID, that was before. Maybe I'm going there tomorrow or on Monday when the crowds are a bit lesser, then I'll just have to visit. I still believe in indulgence. I still believe in that. That's my faith. Anyway, it's a wonderful day. For all of those, we're a bit many already, can all of those in the live, viewing us now live, can you post in the chat box, in the comments section, how do you manage change now? Because that is actually our topic for today. So for those people who are listening to me now, this early, we're already many. Can you type and post in the chat box? How do you manage change? Okay. Considering the pandemic, we must change. Everybody, from PCAAE to PIMAP to PSTD to POPs, these are the organizations where I am very much engaged. Topics, speakers, discussions are on change. It's time for us to make our dreams come true. A guiding voice. That's a song when I was in high school. But there's also that romantic song. Don't go changes, try to please me. Don't change the color of your hair. Oh, see? You know, I'm singing. I was thinking about it when I was taking my shower. I have to sing to put a little change. See? Innovation, creativity is actually change. Agility, which is actually demands of the time, is actually change. You have to be quick. Transformation. My best friend and I, Femery, we love the word pivot. I got it from my mom. It's change. So what do we have here? Yes, Maricor, may we know, Maricor, how are you managing change now? And of course, Cherise. Cherise, you're watching from Quezon City. How do you manage your change now? How do you manage your transformation? It is just like what I teach in emotional intelligence. Mood management. It is not acceptable anymore wherein you have moods, because we have mood management. You must be able to manage your mood. Ay, wag kang mag-inarte sa kasal mo. Wag kang mag-inarte if you're holding a key position. Don't be too full of yourself, or else you'll be a fool. Full or FOOL. Because you have to manage your mood. That is to be a professional. That is to be a matured person. Managing your mood. Similarly, with changes. I am getting old. I can feel it. Not the eight, no. The maturity. I can feel already, ang yabang, no? The wisdom that I have. Maybe because of the pandemic, we have time to think. So I can feel the transformation of Jesse. Hoy, hindi po ito lukoy-lukoy. No. I got it from my mom. I got it from my lola, my abuelita. But of course, I can see the transformation of my plants, the transformation of my dogs. So how do we manage change now? So I manage myself from the available resources I have around me. Cherise, you are really a woman of substance. Yes, you can never manage anything beyond the locus of your control. What you can manage is actually within your reach. Actually, planning is change management. Mood is just a state of mind. I love you, Cherise. Cherise, you really have to be here one of these days now. One more. Before I introduce the guest, I would like to hear from one or two. How do you manage change now? Okay. How do we manage change? We have already around a lot of people. Grace is here already. Donald, my cousin, is in Saudi. Donald, mag-ingat ka dyan. I saw you were looking good, but you were out there in Saudi. How dare you? You were not using your PPEs. Then how do you manage change? How do you manage change? So because that is our topic for today. I would like to share this. There are around 6-7 hours in change management. Who raised it? It's the pandemic. And what is the reason for the change? Because you're on a lockdown. You need to continue business. You need to grow. And what is the return of the change? Is it Kirkpatrick? Your reaction, your learning, your behavior? Is it ROI? So raise, reason, return. And what is the resources? What Charisse has just mentioned. And what is the reason? And who is responsible for the change? Transformation is also available from the observation and assessment of your family and friends. Assessment is important in change. So that is actually our topic for today. Because the pandemic actually made the antidotes of VUCA, diba? Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, and I even added driven. And what are the antidotes? The vision, diba? The understanding. For complexity is your for agility, for ambiguity, it's your agility. For driven, it's your being digital. And for complexity, it's for clarity. But all of this, you have to make it into something. What are the approaches in trying to surpass or trying to respond to the world, to this VUCA world? We have to prepare, and we have to need a support system to help us cope with the change. So it is actually maybe for individuals, for teams, and for organization in replying and responding to the change. And that is what we call change management. I used to teach this, and which is why I call Mr. Rick Abadesco as my mentor, because I took a lengthy change management program with him when I was with Inquirer, because at the time we were reducing, we were actually it's actually a change management for some of our employees, because we changed the process, and we don't need anymore the strip the what do you call this, they cut the strip, uh, it's a funny term. Anyway, so I took it under Rick Abadesco, and after that I am already having that as part of my seminars. I even did it to one of a big GOCC, and it was very effective. The transformation of the individual and the organization, internal and external. So I have a friend whom later on I knew she's also from Bicol, which is why she's so charming. And she's a graduate of UP. She has been with the human resource management profession practice for more than 20 years. And she is a master trainer for Asia on change management. I would like to listen to her and learn something. You know, I am one person that, just like my mom, there is Kaizen, continuous learning, and I would like to learn from people younger. That there is always somebody greater and lesser than you are. Lloyd Luna, I learned from him a lot. Micheline, I learned from her a lot. The wisdom. Obed, family. So I told her earlier, Joanne, you have to teach me. I want to learn from you. Oh, I mentioned already the name. She's a talent development and transition person. A lot of experience in HRM, and she's a member of the executive leadership team. I do not know how to pronounce this, but I would like to ask her later on. I know that she is very active in the People Management Association of the Philippines, LeadCom. I even have, what do you call this, some lapses. I am a mentor, but sometimes we are so busy. So I'm offering that we can use this venue as the HR hotline for the mentees of the LeadCom. She's very active, and I follow her in the chats. Okay, she is a trustee of the 2021 PMAP Board of Trustees. She's the managing director of Lee. I do not know how to pronounce this. Help me, Lee Hecht, Hecht. I don't know if it is Hecht or Hecht. Anyway, Lee Hecht, Harrison, Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the charming and my kababayan, Joanne Rosary Asetre. Joanne?
Hi, sir! Just marhamang good afternoon.
I love this because we are wearing the same color.
Oo nga, hindi natin pinag-usapan. But I am honored to say na sana same wavelength mo po, Sir Jesse. So,
We are because you are one of those. I notice it when I have a post in our chat group. Thank you very much. There is always a response from you, and that is your Bicolano breeding. Anyway, how do you pronounce the first H in Lee? Hecht. How do you pronounce it?
sige, sir. It's actually Lee Hecht. You pronounced it correctly. Lee Hecht Harrison. Yes. It's a Swiss company. Yes. So that's where it originated. Sir Jesse, I am actually Waray. It's my husband who's Bicolano. But I am an adopted daughter of Bicolanos.
Yes. Good. Alam mo, that can be one. Kasi that is what is actually our topic. The transformation. The transformation of a Waray to a Bicolana. Diba? Anyway, but let's go back to Lee, Hecht, and Harrison. What is your organization actually doing? Because it sounds so exotic. It sounds so exotic.
Thank you so much, Sir Jesse, for inviting me this afternoon. LHH helps companies see the possibilities in their people. So what we do is through our assessments, our coaching programs, leadership development programs, outplacement or career transition programs, we help companies realize the untapped potential of their workforce. So what we would like to do is through our people solutions, we would like to help improve productivity, morale, and of course, as they go through transformation.
Hep.
Go ahead.
May sinabi kang nag-learn ako. So, ang change management, hindi lang yung quick fix.
No,
may sinabi kang 5 alam mo, I'm listening to you. May sinabi ka, please repeat, madam. May sinabi kang 5. Sabi mo, you help transform people. Can you again mention those programs? Again, please. Please.
You're right, sir. Change is not quick fix, especially nowadays. It's never ending. So transformation is drastic. It's continuous. It can be simultaneous. And LHH does that through our assessments, coaching programs, leadership, and career transition.
Yes, I love it kasi a lot of HR do not know about it. They think that if you can just give a seminar on change management, this is it. Tell us, mag-lecture ka na sa amin. Sige.
Sige, sir. Salamat po. So basically, LHH is the global company. We are part of the Adecco Group. It's a world-leading HR solutions partner. We have more than 4,000 coaches and colleagues around the world. We have supported more than almost 10,000 organizations in more than 60 countries around the world. So that is what we do. And we call ourselves a transformation partner. So through the solutions that we have, from identifying the competencies that your organization would need so that you would be able to continue bring and deliver value. And of course, within the company also, your leadership competencies, your people, how do they go through, how do they make sure that they are ready?
Wow! So parang LHH din ako kasi when I do it, I really follow that. I get it from Rick Abadesco, as I mentioned. Very, very similar. But I'm very sure you are more structured and everything is the process. Now, the LHH is there, but tell us. So the change is on the individual? Correct me. On the teams and then on the organization. Am I right, Joanne?
That is correct, sir. So we support individuals, both leaders and employees across all levels of the organization, in the teams, in the whole organization as well. And Sir Jesse, diba, change is complex and there are a lot of stakeholders. So that's why we support and all.
Pardon my ignoramus question. I really love this kasi the conversation is so hot na kakag. Pardon the ignoramus question. Where do you start? How do you start? Say, parang somebody calls you up. There is something wrong in our organization. I don't know if it is culture. I don't know if it is process or the structure. So, where do you start? Where should HR start?
Mm-hmm. I would have for LHH, at the onset of every conversation, our question is, what is your end state? Where do you want? Right? So, and then from there, we talk about all the other aspects. So
I love it. Spot on ka talaga, Joanne, kasi that is what I learned also from Lloyd Luna. I don't know if you know him. It's always the point A to point B. Tama ba ako? I'm getting you right?
Yes.
Para bang, if you have some problems, Ami, my dati kong ka-opisina is watching us, Ami, and Presi is watching us. Ami and Presi, listen to this. And any problems, even sa family, kasi these are already mga retirees. So, ang suggestion natin, Joanne, is when you have if you want to have some changes in your life, changes in the family, changes in the organization, the first thing you have to do is look, what is the point B? Where you want to be. Tama ba ako, Joanne?
Yes, sir. What is your point B? What is your end goal? And why do we want to be there? So yes, sir.
We'll make it a little bit simple para mag-make up. Diba? Mag-make up ka. magme-makeup ka para saan? Ano ang point mo? Magme-makeup ka para bang magmukha kang GRO, o magmukha kang ballet dancer, magmukha kang kabuki? I love it, Julia.
Yeah. Saan siya nanggagaling? Ano yung hugot, sir, basically? We have to start from there. Bago natin, kasi, go ahead, sir.
It takes, alam mo, it's very easy for us to discuss it, but it's difficult how really to start it.
Right.
So, can you give me some details? So kung nagsabi na where do you want to go, anong gagawin na natin dyan, Joanne?
Right. So when we have clearly stated where we want to go and why do we want to go there, then tingnan na natin yung iba-ibang aspeto. For example, karamihan ngayon because of the pandemic, a lot of organizations have changed their business model. So that is the end state in different ways, in different forms. And of course, the why behind it is to make sure that they would be able to continue to deliver value to their clients. Now, after that, ano yung impact na nun? So let's try to articulate ano yung impact structurally. How will that look like? Are we going to have realign our structure? How will that look like in terms of operations? How will that look like in terms of competencies of the technical aspect in the organization? And also, how will that look like in terms of the cultural? And this one, the last part that I would share is the one that's really very close to my heart. And what I always remind change leaders or leaders in the organization, let's also try to clearly identify how it will impact every individual in the organization, both in the work and in their personal life. Yes. Sir.
Right. Dapat nakatahi eh.
Yes.
Yeah, this time, Joanne, let us veer, but it's still within the context of our discussion. This is the time wherein you do strategic planning.
Right.
And then may effect yun dun sa change management kasi this is the time that it's the time that it's the opportunity to change the vision and the mission. And then it's so easy to have yung mga matatalino come up with the new line. And then I got you. How will that vision or that mission muna affect the individual? Ang pinakamahirap, Joanne, sa sinabi mo, ang ganda-ganda, wala namang effect. Wala namang impact. Right. I love this conversation. Now, ang dami ko naka-prepare na question pero wag ko na itatanong. Mas maganda na ito. So Joanne, after that, ano yung mga programs? You mentioned 5 programs. What is the first program that you have to, parang training siguro muna? What is the first, how do you call that? What is the first intervention? Am I using the right word? What is the first intervention? Okay.
Right, sir. I love what you said, intervention. Kasi I think one common challenge we have now is that change management is it's a program, but it's not really just a program. It's an intervention. And we always have to continue to revisit it. I make iterations, pivot if we have to. So I love what you said, sir, when you said intervention instead of the program. And when going back to your question about saan tayo mag-uumpisa, we always say, let's start with the leaders. Let's always start with the leaders. Kasi I think you have experience wherein execute, but from the leader side, the commitment, the drive of the leaders is medyo may kulang. So the success of the organization, transformation will always start with the leaders. So that is my answer, sir, to your question.
I had that experience, Joanne, years ago. In one of those lessons that I learned, I facilitated a strategic planning, and the president and CEO. Actually, the one who got me was not attending. He just passed by, take breakfast, and leave, and so busy. And so I had it, say, for 3 days, and it was wonderful. In my assessment, it was wonderful. When we were about to discuss for the conclusion, iba yung nasa utak nung presidente. I don't know, going home, because it was in the Visayas, I really felt so sad. Sabi ko, where did I go wrong? Alam mo yung engagement, I think it's the engagement of the leader in the process of change.
Right.
Right. the process of change. So, again, makulit po ako, Joanne, ha? Happy ano. So, anong unang program na gagawin? Will it be a training or anong unang intervention niya for people to be attuned and ready for change management?
Right. Thank you so much, sir. It would actually also depend on what are the pain points of the organization. So we would
love that.
So less than one size fit all, sir, right? So it's not just what we get from the rack and then we do it in any organization. So for us, we always start what are the pain points here and what is the most urgent and most important pain point. So we start from there because some organizations has very strong leaders, very nice, and we sometimes nandun sa mga mid-level managers ang challenge. So we start from there. So depende ano yung pinaka pain point of the organization. Is it also, for example, some would have very strong leadership accountability culture, and then where is the challenge in the communication strategies? So we would have to sit down and really talk through which aspect is the pain point and so para doon tayo magsimula kung ano yung ating ma-identify.
And mahal yan, ha? Mahal yan na process, somebody assessing, somebody reviewing. What is the other technical term for pain points? Training needs? What do you know? What is that? Pain points is areas for to consider siguro, di ba? Areas of concerns. Ay mano yan, mahabang proseso yan. Kasi you're trying to look into the gaps. And one of that is when it is HR competency gaps, might be. Diba? Might be for the change. Paano kung ang change is a transfer of the venue? Kasi di ba ngayon there is what you call pandemic, and then they gave up their office and they're now going into one venue. Ano ang pain points niyan?
Marami din, sir. And I like what you said. I like it that you brought that up because there are some leaders who will change in office, but they're not able to see beyond what they're not seeing. And for example, letting go of an office going virtual, you are changing the structure. We are changing the systems. We're changing the processes. And that is a significant impact in the organization. We are changing the technology, the skills, therefore, should also follow. And of course, competencies would also we'll have to revisit that. And then it will also require us revisiting the norms, the communication styles of everyone. So that is a major change, and that is what we have to look at. So it would be good to just do a simple assessment. I understand what you said, sir. Mahaba yan or ano, but sometimes let's not allow ourselves to be burdened, and let's just collectively with a lot of collaboration, let's look at how will the change impact the organization from different aspects.
I would like to read some of the comments here. Diba? We have from V. Villacampa, what is your end state? And Joseph Oblete, LHH is the best, of course. V. Villacampa, and why do we want to be there? And of course, V. Villacampa, leadership, done or drive culture. And then Nana Nadal, can we have the post of Nana Nadal, please? I have witnessed how LHS have work, magic individuals and companies, many more. I love how Sir Jesse breaks on. Oh, thank you very much, Nana. I don't know ako mag-isip. Okay, going back to that. Yes, of course, it has to be quick, yung assessment. It has to be quick. Pero my point is for those who are going to view this, alam mo ang live streaming, it can be shared. Yun hindi nga yung as quick as you can, na para bang you get LAH, you get me as to help with your change management, na para bang if you do something of a program, yun na yun. Hindi. Kailangan mo na mag-assessment talaga. So doon na need for, specifically, I'm sorry na we're going to details. An FGD siguro will do.
Right. Yes, sir. I agree with you. An FGD will do. In fact, depending as well on what is it that we want to focus on, what is our end state. Some we use the engagement surveys, the culture surveys as information. So depending on what is it that we want to address, where are the pain points, and we can have the assessments in place. So FGD is fantastic. I love hearing the voice, not just survey is fantastic as well, right? I'm sure we do that, Sir Jesse. Sometimes having the voice behind the numbers is just really fantastic. That's when, and we always say communication is very important. And when we do FGD, that is also actually one way of having that two-way conversation.
Okay. So that is actually from the start, and that is pre-work for the change management. O Diyos ko, naalala ko si Rick Abadesco talaga. Now, what are the formative? Ang formative, ito na yung mentoring, am I right? These are the mentoring. And then there's a difference between the coaching. Of course, let's leave the coaching muna. So it's the mentoring. And then, of course, a training.
Right.
The training. The training.
Yes, sir.
And what do you focus on the training sa pag-change? Nag-mention ka kanina, leadership. What about leadership? Baka naman yung planning, organizing, directing, and controlling, hindi yun ha? Hindi. Change. May nag-uusapan natin change. What we're talking here is change. So what about only? Saan ka muna ang approach mo? Saan ka una mag-job? Sa rank and file, sa staff, sa leader, saan ka muna mag-job?
No, sir. We always prefer to start with the leaders. So when the leaders has the right values, has the right mindset also in terms of the change, yun talaga lagi ang puso namin. Let's always start with the change. And for LHH, there are many models of change management, diba, sir?
Of course,
for
of course.
Yeah, we have our own model. So talking about yung sa mag-start o ano yung gagawin natin, for us, ang ginagamit namin guide is the own model of LHH, which we call the behavior-based change model. And it's based on the behaviors of everyone. And when we say behaviors, of course, it's driven by the mindset and also the emotion. So, and how do we come up then with interventions to support everybody as they go through the stages of change based on what we're seeing sa behavior nila. So that is how LHH supports transformation or changes in the organization. Always starting from the leader. So we talk about before, during, and after, and making sure that the leaders and all the levels in the organization, employees are supported with structure, information, and support. So that is for LHH, sir.
Wow. Nako, nare-recall ko, Joanne. You know, the other time, hindi pa talaga structured yung change management. That was around 15 years ago. No, 20 years. 20 years, tama ba? Anyway, I was with Chito San Mateo in Inquirer, and of course there were a lot of changes in Inquirer before. You know what I did? What I did in my humble capacity, I got sino nga itong yung 7 habits, yung COVID 7.
Yes.
COVID. You know, I had COVID 7 habits from the board down to the security guards. Lahat yon. Yan muna ang ginawa ko. Alam mo, I can see na after a year or two, may change. Kung may nakikinig ditong taga-inquirer, they will confirm them. So yun nga dapat there should be now a program actually to communicate to people that there is a need to change. You know what I do now is actually yung kay Goldman's emotional intelligence kasi may yung awareness. That is what I do. Pero that is just part. Again, that's why I like our conversation kasi that is just maybe 1/10 of the entire change management program.
Right. Yes, sir. That's true.
Okay. We still have time. Then, we'll have a break. Pero pagbalik nun, I would like to ask you, and what are of course, the methods and the matters, and I don't know if you would like to share the model of what you're doing, and then also tell us how does it work? How does really change management work? Okay. So thank you very much. Ang saya-saya. You can speak Bicol already?
Konti lang, sir. Hanggang sa maarhay na aga, magayon, and then iyo.
Well, why is it that you're so much involved in transformation and change? You are a master change. What is the map? Management change map.
Yes, change map is the change management program of LHA. So kaya siya map, opo, kasi may direction tayong pupunta.
Ano yung course mo sa UP?
I am an anthropology major.
Hay, Diyos mio, ang layo ng anthropology. Ay, pero mayroon. Kasi di ba, sa anthropology, nandun yun yung the appreciation and the understanding of people. I know.
Especially cultural anthropology, sir. So it's social cultural. So actually, I think that has helped me where I am now, understanding the world around us, how people think, what people think. So that I think that has been very helpful for me.
In the season 6, can you come back and teach us anthropology?
Naku, sir, that was 20 years ago. There are many more experts here. So
Pero I think those are some competencies that HR must have. Pero bang at the back of your mind, just to support who you will be, who you are, you're becoming, to become an HR leader, dapat at the back of your system, mayroon kang anthropology. Am I pronouncing it well?
Anthropology. Anthropology. Yes, sir. Opo, that is correct. That has been looking back on what I would have. I'm happy to say that somehow I've been able to help leaders, individuals, and organizations in the many years I've been doing this, and I credit that to my background in anthropology. So, I have former colleagues and also my bosses who say that has been very helpful for me.
Wonderful.
If you want that, there are many experts. We have a lot of experts here. There are because it's not
so humble. You're so humble, Joanne. But it's wonderful to know because those are, I'm trying to look into that. There are some aspects in being an HR that you have to, of course, financial, financial, dapat accounting background ka, which is some HRs really don't like. And then, of course, then that one of caring people, of course, maraming psych, and then that is HRM. Pero we have to really go a little bit deeper into our background. Yung parang the foundation, yung foundationals eh. And I think anthropology is one because yun na nga sabi mo, to understand culture.
Right. How do we behave? How do we interact? So that is a very important bedrock. In fact, I know a lot of HR people who are taking their master's and PhD, and they have anthropology subjects. They take it because nakita nila how it helps them broaden the mind and have a better understanding.
Ngayon ko lang na-appreciate. Yeah, kasi I had that in my, that is one actually my what do you call that, thesis in college. Diba? Yung regional, to understand really the behaviors of especially with Filipinos, very distinct, very, very identifiable ang regional traits eh.
Right.
And you need diba? If you're an HR, alam mo na, para bang, kung may magpaalam sa'yo na Bisaya, na waray na kaya mo, ay, payagan mo.
Right.
Kasi kung hindi mo payagan, nag-story muna tayo kahit mag-break na, kung hindi mo payagan, tatawag yan sa kanila, Ma, what is happening? What is happening? Ay, naku, talaga, binyag na. Tuting na, binyag lang ang pupunta niya. Nandyan ba si Lola? To make the story short. Nandyan, Lola, pwede bang marangin mo si Joanne?
Sure, Jessie. In fact, when we support organizations with different locations across the country, isa sa factor that we consider is ano yung region, saan sila galing. Kasi what will work for NCR might not necessarily work for, let's say, Cagayan de Oro or ano. So,
I love it. For all the HR listening to Joanne now, nako, make Joanne your mentor. O ikaw na yung mentor ngayon, Joanne. Okay, magagalit si Direct J. Let's have the break and then we continue with our conversation.
All right.
Wonderful conversation. Let's have a break. Derek, can we have that poster? Wherein I have to invite them to visit the page of TNC, that's the new channel, and watch the various wonderful shows from the big picture down to the mental shift. This is now the best option that you can do because you can watch the live streaming in your gadgets. Even if I am doing my gardening, I can watch shows in the TNC. And we're doing good. And I would like, let's go back directly to Joanne. I would like to invite everybody who is now viewing us to join us every Thursday. It's actually the HR hotline consultations. I read a problem, a concern from HR, and then people can then just give their insights and then share their thoughts through the chat box, and it's a wonderful. Try to watch the playlist, and you will really be amazed how the conversation. Can we go back to Joanne, please? Joanne.
Yes,
Joanne, if you have time on Thursdays, you join us kasi si Grace Dicena, Maricor, even Pipi Obet are sharing. And then this is it's a wonderful, it's a very casual conversation. Let me greet muna Julius Ortal. He is my former what do you call this, a salesperson in Inquirer. He's watching now. By the way, for all those who are watching, I asked this question earlier. What are the positive or negative changes in your life or in the organization, and how do you manage it so that we can share? We have here an expert, a master trainer. How do you call it? Master trainer, master change person.
Master trainer, yeah. I'm the master trainer, so I certify our facilitators on the change management solution of LHH.
Yes. Okay. So I have some questions that I mentioned earlier. So you mentioned there are a lot of methods. We can mention the other, and then we can just in passing, because maybe I don't know if it's confidential. Just tell us what are the methods. What are the ways na lang, hindi lang methods. What are the ways that you can do to implement a change management program?
Right. And I think many of us are familiar with Kotter, with McKinsey. So these are the other models. And of course, we also have Kubler-Ross, right? So, and Lewins as well. So there are a lot of models on change management. For LHH, our model is called the behavior-based change model, which is really zooming in on the behaviors of every individual, whether leader or employee level, on how they go through the change or transformation. So it also talks about the 5 stages of change. How do they behave during anticipation, when they're letting go, disorientation, reappraisal, and recommitment. And then when we talk about going to your second part of the question, Sir Jesse, how do we go through the change management? For LHH, using this model, what we want to emphasize first is that employee communication is very important. Conversation is very important. It's the key to driving change, is the key to making sure that the behaviors that are in place will support the transformation. So, and it's not a one-size-fits-all, very nice deck or a very nice memo sent to all. What we're saying here is that every stage of the change, we have to make sure that it will align to how the people are responding, are feeling, and are behaving, and also, of course, different stakeholders. So that is how LHH looks at it. For example, a person who is grieving, we need a different communication strategy or conversation strategy as against a person who is very excited sa kanyang new role. And that is what LHH is saying. We have to tailor fit it at every stage of the change for the different stakeholders. So that is the method or how LHA supports organizations when they go through transformation.
So you need a lot of information from HR on the profile.
Yes.
On the profile.
You're right, sir. But sir, ang isang ini-emphasize namin is that do not rely on HR. The line managers, change management is not an HR function. It's the manager function. So
Wow.
the HR is there to support. HR is there to provide provide resources and support. But the change leaders are everybody in the organization. So hindi siya dapat, sige, si HR ang gagawa ng craft or si HR. No, it's everybody's accountability.
I like it coming from you. So, ang unang intervention mo are with the leaders, are the what do you call that? Frontliners, are the team leaders, the supervisors, actually.
Right. Yes, sir. So we start from the topmost, from the senior leaders, then we cascade it down and make sure that there is alignment with everyone. It does not have to be in a scripted lahat or what, but at least what is it that we want to emphasize, and everybody will have the same behavior, will be saying the same things. Because Sir Jesse, we've supported several organizations. There was one that even, for example, ano yung keyword? For example, pag tinext kita sa Viber, Sir Jesse, bakit tayo merong bagong IT system or bagong HR system? If iba ang sagot mo sa iba kong pinagtanungan in the organization, that can cause confusion already sa akin. So there has to be really kailangan yung everybody from the topmost leaders to the frontline leaders, pare-parehas tayo. So, and conversations, we always say conversations, employee communication will be the driver of the change.
Wow. So dapat talaga calibrated at aligned yung mga terminology. So dapat meron ka munang orientation that you are actually using the same, you are in the same page.
Right. Yes, sir.
Now that we are in a pandemic, so I'm trying to use a Google Digo. So dapat may synchronous ka at asynchronous. So more of the synchronous ka doon sa intervention mo.
Hindi rin, sir. We now have to embrace both synchronous and asynchronous, and I think that is one of the change or transformation that we all have to embrace. That it really now has to be. We have to marry the two, the asynchronous and the synchronous. That's why we had to revisit and all organizations. We now have to revisit the competencies and the skills of everyone. So hindi lang siya synchronous, sir. Talagang we have to make sure that whatever we use, open tayo kung ano yung mag-work best in that situation.
Okay. Now, I'm looking at the time. So, sa experience mo for a change management, ano talaga saan yung impact? So, using the Kirkpatrick, may reaction siyempre, and then there is what you call, may learning siyempre, and then may ano yung absolute time frame na nafe-feel mo that there was already a change?
Hindi rin, at least no, for LHH, really can't say yung time frame absolute because it would have different impact and also depending also on ano yung areas, no? Some change, one area lang yung magkakaroon ng impact. Let's say structure, I have a new boss. All the others, operation, technical, cultural is the same. So that's a medium to low impact probably, and I would be able to adjust or embrace the new ways of working in much shorter than if there is a new structure, new boss, new department, new process. So that would take a significant longer amount of time. So iba-iba din talaga, no, yung when we talk about time frame. So and it's good for us to have an appreciation of that kasi we just kasi hey, move on ka na, no? Kasi especially on the personal level, the closer the impact of change to the person, the higher the response to the change would be. And it's not just about good change naman yan, so dapat tanggapin mo yan. Or so kung mas mataas ang impact sa akin, no? For example, let's say I hear in the news I think one change we all have to embrace now is like, for example, PhilHealth, no? If I'm not paying PhilHealth, makikichismis lang ako. Talaga, yun naman. But if I am paying PhilHealth and I would feel the impact, yung response ko would be higher as more intense as compared to the ones na wala.
Okay, pardon this ignoramus question. In your experience, ano yung mga top three concerns na talagang you need, talagang mahirap yung change management? I can give one. Siguro structure. Nag-change ng organization structure. Am I right? Is changing the organization structure mahirap?
Changing it, putting a new person or a new title or a new madali siya. But in terms of how do we now cascade yung culture and the values? How do we establish the relationship? Doon siya nagkakaroon ng challenges.
Yeah.
Dali lang kasi palitan yung tao or palitan yung title eh. But after that, ano yung impact nun? Magdo-domino effect na siya, sir, eh. So, yun na yung magiging
Okay,
ano.
okay. Answer my question. Come on, top 3. Ano yung mga, so that people will appreciate, those who are listening to us, anong top 3 na nakita mo sa experience mo that it really is as a difficult, it needs a process sa change management?
Mm-hmm.
Can you share?
Yeah, top 3, would anything that would require me to change my competencies, the individual level. So, yeah, yun yung malakita namin. No? Is even leaders, for example, kung kailangan mag-change ng mga competencies nila, medyo merong the learning muscle, the learning curve, diba?
Joanne, so that means if you're assigned to another post, kasi that's changing a competency.
Yeah, or not only, or it could also be that it may not be a new assignment to a new post. It may be that my function now requires me to have a different way of thinking, different way of working.
Ayun, yun yung pandemic na yan, yung mga new normal na yan.
Exactly. Yeah. I may be the managing director na nagre-report sa office ngayon. Ngayon hindi na. So virtual na ako. Iba na yung pag-check-in ko, iba na yung pag-meeting ko.
So that needs change management.
Yes.
Ako pala dapat nag-change management ako from HR to marketing,
That's a change that and it required a lot of in your muscle.
That was way back in 2006 from HR to Ma'am Sandy transferred me to I was thinking, did I do anything wrong? Wala, sabi niya it is you are going to be an earning pero alam mo dapat pala nakilala na kita tapos ikaw nag-process sa akin. Okay, Adam to, hindi ko nakalimutan question ko. Adam to. So aside from that competency, what are the other
cultural, sir. So if there is something in the culture, ang isang challenge kasi sa cultural, sir, hindi siya it's not like yung kita natin di ba? So a cultural transformation, organizational level, individual level, yun yung medyo is a challenge. And I think everybody of us we all always talk about culture, no? So I think that from our experience, me personally, that's what I have seen. So personal, cultural, yun yung pinaka-top 2 that I have seen. Medyo
Joanne, can you consider the change from face-to-face to distance to working from home a cultural change?
It would have an impact on the culture, sir. It would have, for example, sir, ang isang nakita namin in some of the organizations we have supported, the culture of trust. Na-highlight yun, sir. Hindi ko So, hindi mo na nakikita pumapasok ng door. Wala nang time in, time out. The culture
alam mo ang term ko niyan, Joanne, culture of discipline. Hindi yung discipline na yung sa code of discipline. The culture of discipline, dahil may discipline ka na, you have to work from 8 o'clock, the culture of discipline. No, so my question before the third. Sige, you're saying something.
No, and challenge siya for the others. For example, magka-grupo tayo, magka-department tayo. I don't see you. Sometimes I don't trust Jesse is doing his part of the end. Dati nakikita kita, I see you working. So ang daming na-disrupt in terms of the culture talaga when we had to do work from home.
I see. So okay, before we go to yung third mo, now, so saan mo ipapasok yung, di ba, yung talent management? Kasi tinuturo ko rin yung sa essentials. So, talent management, we have acquisition, we have succession planning, we have compensation, we have what you call a relation. Saan mo ipapasok yung change management? Is it OD?
Yes, sir. Oo. At sir, kailangan talaga, part siya eh. We have to, even as everything that's happening, no, any change there, that is change management. So OD.
Nakatahi.
Yes, sir. At saka, sir, everybody has to have a change management skill. It's not an OD, yung OD sila lang yung mayroon nun. Everybody, lahat ng leaders, even individuals.
Thank you for making that clear. Thank you for that making. So it is actually the function. Dapat embedded yan doon sa KRA. I remember when I was an inquirer, yung, what do you call this in finance? Yung audit, yung internal audit, Finoise na in-include, kasama ako doon, in-include sa KRA ng lahat ng supervisor. Na para bang internal audit, because it's pre-audit, it has to be part of your key responsibility area. Siguro what you're telling me now, yung change management should also be embedded in everybody's.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, sir. It has to be. And we always hear nowadays. We hear about innovation. We hear about pivot.
Yeah.
We hear and change and vision and plans does not have to come from the top. So even the ones who are at the lowest level of the organization, they have to have the change readiness. They have to be open to think of ideas. They have to be open. So everybody talaga dapat, sir. And we always
I love it. So ang gusto kong sabihin yan, yung nag-iisip ko ngayon, Joanne, ownership. The ownership of change management is not only for a particular department, but for everybody.
Yes. And
Ay,
sir,
gawin natin na movement yung dalawa, ha?
Saka sir, hindi lang siya para sa mga empleyado. For us to thrive now, given this pandemic, even if you're not employed, kailangan change. We have the change management skills.
I love you. Spot on ka talaga. Spot on. Kasi ang daming kahit narito sa bahay, kahit na si Chevy yung aking kong katulong, kahit yung anak kong si Berlo, dapat may change management.
Yes. Sa bahay lang, magkakasama na kayo, may change management dapat na plano dun, sir.
Ay nako. Sometimes I'm an impresario on speakers. I mention it to you. I will invite you. You should be a resource speaker on this.
Thank you so much.
Kahit na doon na lang sa person yung mga change nagtao. That is good. Okay, so what is the third? Hindi ko nakalimutan yun before we end. Top 3. Okay, so that those watching us will know. We will know. So competencies, culture nga. Alam mo, Joanne, you really have to come back because yung pagsalita ng culture, it's very easy for us to say OD, culture. But it's not clear to everybody kung ano yung culture. Kung tanungin mo what is the culture of your organization, hindi yan masagot, mag-iisip muna yan.
Yeah. Kaya yun, sir, isa sa mga pinakamahirap kasi hindi natin siya mahawakan eh. So that's why it's one of, especially nowadays with the significant fast transformations that's happening and simultaneous transformations pa, ang hirap ng culture. So yun yung pangalawa. For the third, I would have to say probably how we do things, the operational aspect, both from from my level to the whole organization. It's so easy to say that we have these new systems, we have these new things, but making sure that it delivers value, that we are efficient and we are of course effective, that is a challenge that in my experience I have seen becomes a challenge. Kasi ganito naman kami dati eh. Bakit kailangan palitan? So operational, how we operate differently is also a major challenge when it comes to change or transformations.
Wonderful, Joanne, kasi yun na nga. I always mention this. Ang dami, chismis ito, huwag kayo magalit sa akin. Ang daming mga HR, mayroon niyang LMS sa training, mayroon niyang HRIS, na ang mamahal pa niyan. Nagtitake yan ng, what do you call this, in PMAP, yung analytics, pero wala namang data.
Yes.
Diba?
Yes.
Kasi nga, the problem is how to really appreciate and embrace the new technology, the new machine that was given. Okay, last. Ano yung dapat gawin yan kung ganon? Kasi gaya sa Inquirer noon, ang dami namin na binibiling bagong mga sistema that actually changes the process of reporting. Naglagay ng yung performance management system. Kalahati lang nun, ang mahal-mahal nun, kalahati lang yung nagawa nun. So, and that is actually some of my mea culpa na hindi nagawa. Ano mo dyan? Thoughts mo dyan? Ano dapat gawin?
I would go back to making sure that na-communicate natin why are we doing this to our people. We have to make sure, sir, in any change, whether it's kung ano man yung mga changes na yun, improperly defined objectives, not clear on why, lack of effective communication is really a major source of resistance. So, yeah, we have to go back to that.
Ang gagawa, do you need to have a corporate communication department? Alam mo naman ang iba, pag sabing communication, magagawa yan ng department kagad. Task force. Sino ang gagawa niya na what you mentioned?
Yeah.
Sino?
Natawa ako, sir, kasi similar to the HR function, no, na sina HR na lang gumawa niyan. I also see that, no, si Corco ang gagawa dapat yan kasi communication plan yan. Again, corporate communications is there to support. No, they can of course craft all these strategies and all these plans. No, but at the end of the day, every leader should own it, should bring it forward, and should deliver the messages. No, and they should be able to translate that to the simplest form possible across all levels of the organization in different stages of change. So,
mag-overtime tayo sa dahil dyan ha. So, ang una palang gagawin is a leadership program.
Yes, always, sir. Let's start always from the leaders who will bring it forward.
Naku, ang dami may problema dyan sa South, yung mga factories dyan sa South. Kasi may oras, may sariling mundo ang mga operations.
Yes, sir. Sorry kasi I see it. I've seen it.
Diba? So dapat talaga somebody should start and intervene. The leaders, the supervisor must really appreciate that they are the ones hindi na really call it in charge, owners of communication, owners of the information that nagagawin.
Exactly, sir. They have to own. It's part of the role. It comes with the territory. What's sad is maraming leaders that shy away from it. Si Corpcom yan or si HR yan.
Kasi naman, ang HR ang pinapabigay lang is the simple planning, organizing, directing, and controlling lang. Baka tapos ng supervisor na.
No, dapat kasama na yung change management, sir. Kailangan kasama na siya ngayon. When we equip our leaders. Yeah.
Wow, ang ganda ng ating resolution. Joanne, you're a wonderful person. I reckon we have the break after na kasi I don't want to break the momentum. The momentum. So, so it works. Yeah, yes. Before I ask you to do your parting message, can you convince me, grabe talaga ako magsalita, no? Can you convince me, influence us that change management works? Paano yun?
It works. We have to have the right mindset. We have to embrace it. We always hear that change is constant, especially nowadays. It will be there day in, day out. From the time we wake up to the time we go to sleep, we would be required to transform. And we don't know what is the end of the situation, the pandemic situation we are facing in now. When we have the right mindset of change, we see the opportunities in change. It's painful, of course, but it will work if we have the right mindset. And then, of course, the skill set to follow, it will work. We will all benefit from the opportunities in change.
Okay. Before your parting words, ang kulit-kulit ko talaga, Joanne. Ganito si Sir Jesmo. So, paano yan ma-appreciate ng mga management na parang the ROI na if we get somebody to do some changes or kahit hindi kumuha ng outsider, mag-change management, how can they be convinced na mayroon? Ano yung mga assessment that will tell them that may nangyari?
Yeah. Of course, we have to go back first, no? So what is it ano yung objectives natin when we started the change management process? And then later on, we will determine how do we measure now the success, no? So we have to agree on the success indicators. And depending on the success indicators, it's not just, survey or what ang ating gagamitin kaagad right away. So we have to align from the objectives, the success indicators, and then we now talk about how do we then now measure the success of these changes. So we can have engagement survey, we can have culture survey, we can have FGDs again. At the end of the day, it's clear for us ano yung kailangan nating ma-achieve. So so that would to my answer to your question, sir, about yung sa ROI, depending on what is really the return that we wanted to achieve in the change or the transformation.
Ang kulit-kulit ko lang. So that means lahat dapat mayroong KRA and KPIs. Kasi ang success indicators can only be gathered from the KPIs. Am I right, Joanne?
Yes, sir. We have encountered a lot. I have encountered some leaders or organization would invite me. Oh, we need to change this. And when I ask bakit, when do we say that this is successful? And then they stop and basta kailangan natin gawin ito. So we have to start from with the end in mind. What is it that we want to achieve? And from there, we will work backwards. No? So measuring the success, agreement on the timelines, it's not a one size fit all. No? So we have to make sure that we're able to address the uniqueness of every organization and every individual.
Wonderful. Sabi rito ni Charisse is a friend of mine.
Hi,
At tinatawag ko, kasama ka dyan, yung mga woman of substance. Change management is a must, especially in these trying times. At may sinabi, needs analysis and the right mindset. Right, Charis? Charis, dapat sunod ka na yan, ha? Kasi si Joanne nga, no, natatakot magsalita. Joanne, and you're so wonderful. Again, babalik ka rito. And again, tell the mentees in the lead com. Hilda is the one in charge in PMAP for the lead com, no?
Yes, for the benefit of those who are not familiar with PMAP, so it's People Management Association of the Philippines. I personally have learned a lot in PMAP. I have grown a lot with Sir Jesse as one of our mentors. So that is PMAP. I invite you join us. And then LeadCom is a committee in PMAP, Leadership Development Committee. Fantastic. That's where I also grew and learned a lot. So with a lot of, very experts, the pillars in the industry. So that is LeadCom. And yes, Sir Jesse, Hilda is the trustee in charge for LeadCom. And she would be able to make sure that our mentees would take part in your show.
Yeah, si Mitch Guzzi is a mentee of mine. Regards to Mark Hernandez and to Eric Del Castillo, di ba? Yan ang mga lead ko. Anyway, that is actually what is wonderful with PMAP kasi meron nga yung parang part of the succession planning is a leadership committee. And I think some associations also do that. Right. Anyway, wonderful conversation, Joanne. Mag-overtime tayo. But this is something that we can share, and this is actually, that's actually the intention of HR Hotline. Then I invite you, if you have time, every Thursday, you join us in our conversation.
I will, sir.
Okay. Can we have now your parting message before I also do my conclusion? Thank you again.
Yes, thank you so much, Sir Jesse. And thank you to everyone who joined us this afternoon. I really appreciate it. I'm so honored to be with Sir Jesse. My parting message is that not only the leaders or not only the organizations, all of us, we have to find ways to evolve our capabilities. This is the new normal. We don't know how this will look like. We don't know what will be required of us. But what's required of us is to stop the business as usual mindset. So there would be continuous improvements. There would be incremental or significant changes. That is the norm now. We have to embrace that. And that requires us to have a transformation mindset. And we can all do that. We can all become better, and we will thrive and not just survive in this new normal that we are all facing with. So thank you so much to everyone and to Sir Jesse.
Thank you, Joanne Rosary. I like your name, Joanne Rosary Asetre. Anyway, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I will get from what Joanne just mentioned, the mindset, the right mindset to approach, to respond to the change management that is required in us. Again, just like mood management, you have to manage change. As Joanne mentioned, it is constant. Right now, there are some changes. My dogs are actually waiting for me outside. My plants are actually growing up. So there are a lot of changes. How will you manage it? So the right mindset. And I may add, what is your role? What are the key roles? And it was mentioned by Joanne emphatically. The leaders, the leadership role, although everybody must own the change. Of course, you are part of it. But let us go into your role. Your role as the president, your role as a manager, your role as an employee, as a kasambahay in that change. And the worst is, if you are that person, if you're so full of yourself that you just think about yourself and you don't have that outward mindset of trying to understand other people, that the transformation is sabay. Sabay ang pag-angat, sabay ang paghangon, sabay ang pagbangon. So, what is your role? Ikaw ba yung pasaway? Ikaw ba yung mag-inarte? Ikaw ba yung parang prinsipe? because change has to be managed. And management of change needs a lot of emotional intelligence. You have to listen. And the other one, the last one, is the principle. I was not able to ask from are you still there, Joanne? Nagko-conclude na ako pero tinatarap ko si Joanne. Yung principle importante. Importante yung prinsipyo. What are the guiding principles in those change? It cannot just be because there will be change, you go with the flow. There should be an anchor. There should be a foundation. There should be some principles that you have to follow. Of course, the new normal, the VUCA world, just like, say, with Johari's principles, we do not know that. But trying to solve that, we need to have principles. So your roles and your principles matter most in change management. And it starts from you now. Just like me, I'm getting old. I have to manage my getting old. Not of the negative things, but on the positive things that I am now encountering. The experience and the wisdom, and trying to know what is happening. The family, the organization that you're working with, you have to think that everybody is thriving, striving, and the community. So change management is part of our life. Change is constant, as mentioned, and we have to manage it. This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo, just marvelous po.